Okay, so next I have some questions, and I'm not going to read the questions, but what I usually recommend to clients is to do journaling, and a lot of times getting that stuff out of your brain, down your arm, with a pencil or pen onto a piece of paper is really healing. It gets it out there, and you'd be surprised once you start writing what you come up with. Has anyone here ever done any journaling? Okay, yeah, it's really helpful. I tell people all the time. The problem is, what do they journal about? They sit there with their paper and pencil, they don't know where to start. So these are questions that are really good to start journaling, and somebody might just take one of these questions and start, because the way we start working with our relationships to heal is one step at a time. It takes years, and it's not ongoing, and sometimes you put it on the shelf, and then you pick it up later, and you start again. But from a therapy standpoint, down at the bottom it says ways to explore relationships. Bowen's systems therapy is, there are therapists who work with this, and there's an online site where you can go to, and you can find therapists that work with this system. And literally what they do is you take a map of your family, and you write all the people in your family, or maybe you pull a friend in and you see how everything's related, and they work with that map. It's very interesting and really helpful. A lot of this stuff started in the 70s, and it's just built. So Eric Byrne was a psychotherapist. Did you ever hear of transactional analysis way back? Yeah. So he's got 4 or 5 types of people inside one person, and they come out at different times. So like the nurturing parent is the accepting, caring, and supportive aspect of the dimension. The critical parent emphasizes judging, discriminating, so they might judge themselves, they might judge other people. But when judging other people, we have to realize that we're judging ourselves. So what I tell people is, whenever somebody is annoying you or driving you crazy, you might want to take a look at that, because whatever they're doing, something in you is being triggered in your body, sitting there. And it could even be a physical part. Remember I talked earlier about how events and traumas get located in different parts of your body, can be affecting those parts. And what I'll ask people to do is I'll teach them to do a body scan. A lot of people, when they first do a body scan, they can't do it, because you would be surprised how many people can't feel their bodies. They can't feel their feet, because a lot of times we lift up out of our bodies. So the feet and the legs are the first for us to lose feeling in. So practicing to do a body scan, we might recognize, for me, for example, it was always my stomach. So when I learned and became more aware of how my body felt, I would feel my stomach and I'd be like, okay, something around here is affecting my boundaries. In other words, affecting what they're either, I feel like I have to do something for them, I feel like they have to do something for me, something like that. So I'll look around and see what's going on, and then I have to address that issue. But if you get used to your trigger, everybody has different triggers. So if you get used to it might even be an illness that gets exacerbated. Something's going on at that time, and that's why it's exacerbated. Figure out what that is, work on it, and it might get better.
How do you do a body scan?
You work with quiet music, usually, and you start with the top of your head. Start to relax the top of your head. Feel your front of your face, feel your ears, feel your tongue, relax your tongue. There's different guided meditations that will help to do that. The throat, relax the throat, because that's a big area of expression. Relax the shoulders, bring the arms down. Your arms feel heavy, your hands feel heavy. Go down your back, relax your back. Breathe into your stomach. Breathe in, breathe out, and relax your stomach. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. All the way down to the feet, which we always forget.
Mm-hmm. And when you say that there's an issue somewhere, then what do you do with that?
You recognize that, oh, that's my issue. I must have something. I'll start. When we come to different therapies, I'll have a holistic practitioner say, oh, everybody has to have this one therapy because this is what helps them. And I say, no, they don't. You might have people who need to have that, and they might want to come to you for that, but that might not work for them. So what you do is you start asking questions, start reading. listen to your gut, what sounds comfortable. Some therapies, or like when I talk about alternative therapies, let's see if I have a list here. I think I do. When I talk about therapies, I'm talking about body work. Body work is massage therapy. There's other types of body work that work physically on your body. Well, here it is. Art therapy is a therapy. Sound therapy is a therapy. There's these bowls called crystal bowls, and they're white. They're different sizes. Like the biggest one is like this, and the smallest one is like this. And someone will play them. You can actually feel the vibration in your body, and it can relax the different parts of your body. It's very cool. And there is somebody who does a sound therapy session. If you ever want to know, just email me and I'll tell you where it is. It's Mark Torgeson's who's in town here, who's a sound therapist, and he does a sound therapy, and you can sit in there. It's very healing. Acupuncture is helpful because acupuncture works on the physical, the mental, and the emotional levels. It works on all the levels. The problem is if you still have relationships that you're working on, those things, like you can get a massage, well, they'll still come back to some extent. Sometimes they can heal inner child issues, but if you're still fighting those patterns, they'll still come back. Visual imagery, biofeedback is helpful. Neurofeedback is very helpful. Cognitive behavioral therapy, I don't know if anybody's heard of that, but it's very popular now. It's very effective for helping people change emotional patterns. The only thing I would say about that is when you go to somebody with cognitive behavioral therapy, make sure that they're well educated on it, because some people just take a class and they're doing it. They really need to have experience, and they need to have a lot of education with it. Okay. All right, so when we calm the body, including those body parts, holding locked tension, we can make better decisions in a calm manner. So reactions that people have, they may not have because they'll learn to calm their bodies. And when those repeating patterns happen, or those repeating ways people are acting towards them happen, they might have a different response because you can think more clearly and calmly. Learning to heal improves intuition. As this therapy is so important that it will actually change the way you think about yourself. Who am I? What do I really like? Oh, I learned that the first 30 years of my life, I thought I was this, but I'm not. That's not really who I am. And you start to do different types of work. You start to have different kinds of activities, play different games. You might have, sometimes people will actually leave friendships, which can be stressful, but actually what happens is different friendships come in with different types of people. We change that much. It's very, very effective. We can change physical problems in our bodies. I've seen that, but sometimes people are really working on their issues, and they're really doing holistic. They're seeing their doctor, they're taking their medicines. There's very few people with physical illnesses who should not go to a doctor. Most people should, but they can get better. Sometimes things get set in our bodies, and they are always going to be there, but we can improve them. And when they get exacerbated, we know how to manage them better. I want to mention inner child work, too. It's an old term, but it's still very effective, and some people bypass it. It can be very challenging work. I have 2 books here. Recovery of Your Inner Child by Lucia Capaccioni, and the Inner Child Workbook by Catherine L. Taylor. I've seen her on YouTube. This is the book. And then you can go...
Is that, in a nutshell, the inner child therapy? Is that where you go back to being a childlike? Or?
You go back to the different ages. So what we really have is different stages of development, and a lot of them never got fully put together.
Yeah, like you crawl and then you...
Mental and emotional.
And emotional.
Yeah.
So it's like a developmental arrest.
Exactly. And we all have it.